Wow, somebody already hit the like button. Dang. I'll just give it a couple minutes to, for thankfully, we're not suppressed on here, you know? Well, not suppressed like, like as much as the other platform, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. I gotta figure out what I even posted. Did you end up posting any videos like telling anybody that we were yeah, I did. Posted one, but I don't know, man. Maybe I just gotta go live every day or something, on TikTok. I'm just gonna have to make a point to do it every single day. And even if I'm not really doing anything, just go on live on it. So we'll give it a couple minutos for everyone to join. Um, so yeah, it was I'll tell you what, man, it was like interesting. It was an aha moment for me today, because now I realize that, all I have to do is say, well, I feel sad, that you said this, or you know what I mean? Like I'm like, really? Like that's all you have to do? Like actually well, it's basically like actually expressing how you feel, basically. But it's like now I understand why I was like for so long I would be like, no, but I can't say that, because then you're just like bringing it in or manifesting it, because it's like I was taught that you're not supposed to feel those things. So it's like then I'm thinking, well, I don't know if I should say this, and I'd be bouncing back and forth and being like, I don't know, how do I express this? Do I not express this? Do I say this? Do I talk about how I feel? Do I even know how I'm actually feeling? You know, it's pretty wild, man. Another amazing thing that to me is like blows me away that the school systems don't teach you this when you're little. Just as I
Yeah,
say,
just as I
I
was saying, you got to name it to tame it.
well,
If you're
yeah,
having a
and
feeling, say it. Say how
well,
you
yeah,
feel. And if you don't know how you feel, just say, I don't know how I feel right now. But
well, yeah,
still acknowledge it, because if not, at least for me, I just feel like this energy inside of me, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like, Psst, you're ignoring me right now. I'm going to get even louder for you
yeah, yeah,
right now, so then you pay attention to me. And
yeah,
then there'll be other situations that are there to it feels like antagonization, but it's really just I'm ignoring how I'm feeling.
yeah,
And then when you
yeah,
actually express it, then that's where the gold is. Because for me, I feel like when I don't say anything, I feel like I'm like a soda pop, someone's shaking me up, and like my bubbles are like ready to pop. And then when they just like, I just say, hey, I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed right now. And then it's just like gentle on the little cap, and it's like, you know, and it just allows the energy to move, instead of staying internal.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
it is simple. It's kind of shockingly simple, isn't it?
it is, and versus like, well, like, no, I'm not gonna feel any of that stuff because I was told not to feel it. Like men. Men are told not to. I think women too, but not like men were told and taught. Like you just don't feel, and you know, I think it's a bigger. I think mostly every man can relate to that. Hey Dale, what's good, brother?
Hi,
Um,
SRF. I'm good. Hi, Dale. Yeah, I think that both, well, the gamut of the humanity has been suppressed in some way of expression or repression
Mm.
of emotions and feelings. I remember for me growing up, it was like you can cry and you can be happy, but you cannot be angry. You cannot
Yeah,
be angry. So I've been working through a lot of anger. It's like
same
come
here.
and
Yeah,
risen up that I've felt. And I literally feel like I'm a dragon and that like fire is coming out of my out of my mouth when I express it. And it's so powerful when you say, I am angry right now. Even if it's just like it's typically not about the other person, it's about something else, but it's just good to state because like I was just around one of my friends yesterday and I had no idea. She was like dealing with constant pain in her body. And she's like, yeah, this is just like my norm. But if she didn't tell me that, I would have no idea because she seemed fine. She'd still do all the things. Like it didn't seem out of the ordinary for me. So it's like if you don't tell people and rather you don't tell yourself that you're acknowledging it, then it just keeps perpetuating.
well, yeah, it was like years ago that I deemed when I started going through stuff mentally, like mental stuff, like mental health related. I started to realize, and I said, I am never going to judge a book by its cover because it's like people will go and they'll help someone that they see physically, like maybe with crutches or they're in a wheelchair and they'll open a door for them or something. But somebody going through something internally in their mind, it's like this guy, JD, I forgot what his name was, man. He does like a lot of really motivational stuff on YouTube and stuff like that, JD something. And he did this one really motivational video I would watch like a zillion times, and it had a big lion on it, and it would talk about the gunfire going off in your head. And there's a lot of people walking around with gunfire going off in their head, and you don't, and it's like just because you don't see them, with like in crutches or a wheelchair or maybe an injury on their arm or whatever it is, like doesn't mean that they're not going through something mentally in their head. And it's like to have just as much compassion and empathy for people regardless if you can physically see it, or not. And I realized when I went through that people didn't have compassion and empathy for me, because they didn't even know versus like someone like I said with a wheelchair and you open the door for them. So it's like I think that we don't acknowledge that you don't know what somebody's going through, you know, and to still always have compassion and empathy, for regardless, because you just never know. Like someone could lose somebody like an hour before they cut you off on the highway, or maybe they're rushing to the hospital because a loved one is going to transition, you don't know, but then people react immediately and oh, you effing blah, 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 and give them the finger you know, and it's just like, you just never know. You just never know, like, what someone's going through. And I always try to have that, at the forefront you know, when anything happens, it doesn't matter what it is. So, so yeah, so to your point with her, it's like until someone actually tells you that something is going on, you don't know, how much pain they're in. And it doesn't have to be physically, it could be emotionally, it could be, any of it.
Hmm.
So, it's like, can we find compassion and love and empathy for people, and always remember that, you know, they may be going through something, and
I used to
so yeah.
always when I was younger, and someone would bother me or I would feel reactive or feel something, I would play the game of making up a story about them, which is what we do constantly about people and ourselves, right? But I just would make up a story. So, like, if someone cut me off, for example, like, oh, wow, that person is like going to the hospital right now. Their pet is like about to die. The surgery went wrong. Like, I just like make up a story because maybe it's right, maybe it's not. But regardless, it's about allowing them also to have their own experience. And the only part that I wish I would have done is like acknowledge how reactive I'm being, that I'm so upset about them moving in the way that they need to move in that moment, right? Like,
Mm,
kind of projecting it on them as like, oh, this is like a story that must be happening. And it's like, well, also, like, what's my part in this? Like, how am I feeling right now or not feeling? And also, how am I feeling about this action and behavior, whether whatever their story is, you know?
yeah, yeah. I do believe that, and I feel like we're moving. We're being forced into feeling everything, because everything's changing and we're shifting. And I do truly feel that a lot of people that are going to have very challenging times going forward is the ones that don't want to accept the change that's happening within themselves and in the outer world, and that's going to be very challenging for most, to accept that we're changing, the planet's changing, everything is changing, and it's changing so fast and rapid, and to accept that, um, I
It's
think like
interesting that you say that because I'm just being reminded about timelines. And I don't, how do I say this? I think it's the people that are resisting are the ones that are going to be aware that something's happening and they're resisting the shift and resisting the change. And then there's people
but they don't
who
know
are
what the change
deliberately
is.
choosing to
Yeah,
not shift timelines or
yeah,
being on a different timeline and staying with, the status quo, the norm, the the fight with the ego and everybody else, so I don't really feel like though that group of people are even aware that it's even happening,
no, that's what I'm saying.
because they're
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
they're like choosing to not tune in to themselves and what they're needing and wanting and desiring and expressing it and making choices that are in alignment with themselves instead of what has been taught to
yep.
them as what's deemed as normal. So
Yeah, like my dad, he was very, he didn't I kept telling him things were changing, and things like this is gonna be happening and that's gonna be happening. You know what I mean? And his response was like most people at that age, they're like, "Oh, you can't teach a old dog new tricks," Like
that's an
elder
interesting phrase.
like the elderly people, a lot of them are stuck in their old ways. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Which is what that they are probably aware that they have or unaware that they have a belief and are unwilling to change.
yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes, of course. And most of them are, I feel like, are unaware of it. But there is a lot that are awake and awakening or already awake, because it's like crazy. I joined so many of these certifications, and whether it be Reiki or breath work or whatever it is. And there's a lot of elderly people in there, man, much more than like the young crowd, and that they're wanting to to heal and figure things out, and, and understand things. And, so it's very interesting, but yeah, there's still a percentage of them that don't and that are stuck in their old ways, and the old ways of being. And so yeah, it's I guess it's just a mixture,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of resistance. That's what I feel like is delaying the process of us moving moving this along even faster, because a lot of people are resisting.
That's interesting that you say that because we are the creator of our realities and everything around us. So is it really resistance from other people, or is it really just resistance within ourselves? Because if we're sensing resistance around us, that means that we potentially have resistance within us as well. So then it's like the question of, what are we resisting? Because if we're not resisting, it wouldn't bother us if other people were. It wouldn't bother us where we are right now within, you know, this state of the timeline that we're on and who we're engaging with and what have you. But if we are bothered by it, then it's like, why are we? And what are we resisting, since we're so upset that other people are, as you said, delaying the process?
Well, I think it's every light worker and starseed and person that's here that volunteered to come here and assist in this awakening process. Because most of us woke up so early that we're like, I just want everybody to be awake already and for us to move forward and this whole shift to happen, already. Like
Mhm.
I think that a lot of people that are here to volunteer and here to assist humanity are impatient and want us to, like, they want the change to happen. So I don't necessarily agree with that because I think it's more frustration and impatience to wanting everyone to wake up and wanting the change to happen where, you
Yeah,
know,
it's very interesting, Darren, because I'm not frustrated that people aren't all awake. I'm not frustrated or annoyed of where we are. It just is. I'm like, this is where we are right now. And I'm empowering myself by just focusing on me. Like, what do I have to do to feel okay with where I am at and how I'm engaging with everything around me? Because yeah, of course, like it'd be cool if everyone was like awake and like we're in this vision that I keep seeing around like community centered, and there's so much land that's like beautiful, and everyone's heart centered, and there's abundance and everything's happening quickly. Like you think of um a fruit, and then it's like in your hand. Like I get that, and it's also like this soul knowing of, I'm sure, lives that are happening simultaneously of like our gifts coming online. And yet at the same time, it's like, and it just is right now. It just is. Like, how can we be okay with just the isness of the now? Right? Because right now, I can't change the fact like who's in politics. You're talking about that guy on YouTube who is basically doing a reality television show
or like them
for
spraying our
followers.
foods or,
You
you
know,
know,
it's like, what can I take responsibility for my feelings and my actions and behaviors to be okay with things that feel dysregulative, or unsettling, or feel like chaotic, right? Because
I mean, it doesn't
that's
feel
what I'm
chaotic
kind of
then.
looking at it like. Yes, I hear what you're saying. Like, okay, we're going to this ideal realm of love, unconditional. Oh, my phone's about to. I'm gonna have to grab my charger. Um, and community focused, and we aren't there yet. So it's like there is this gap of time, so to speak, or it feels like that. But it's like, what can I do right now to feel better? Like, I went to the bathroom and I got myself some peppers and hummus because I was hungry, just as like something to do to fill up my vessel to feel good about back to back lives, right? It's just those little things to turn. I'm like seeing like a knob, like turn your knob to a frequency that allows you to be in the chaos, so to speak, and it doesn't bother you. It's just like, well, that person just did that. Like I came home and there's like trash everywhere from like the people that are around us, and there's like clothes on the ground, and it's not ours, like it's not our apartment complex, it's the complex that's next to us. And I could have chosen to be so upset and angry, like, "Ugh," like they're not using the trash can, or the putting their clothes away, or you know what I mean? And at the same time, I just picked it up and I just put it in the trash can, because I'm like choosing what energies to engage with. Just because it's in front of me doesn't mean I have to interact with it. Like that's a choice, right? So it's like being mindful of what we're engaging with and why. Is it beneficial for us or
Okay.
not? You
Okay,
know?
so well, I'm expressing like how I and I'll just say it real quick, like I mean like 70, 80 years old, Dale, like, like 90 years old,
Oh, yeah.
like elderly in that age, Um, well, I'm expressing how I feel, I feel frustrated and angry that they're spraying stuff on my food and there's stuff chemicals in the water and there's, you know, big pharma like giving like pill popping, pill pushing and things like this, like that we're not taught how to breathe properly in school when we're little kids, that we're not taught emotional regulation. It's all these different things I'm angry and frustrated about, you know,
Mhm.
that there is clearly a lot of people out there that know these skills and these abilities, and they're doing it with themselves, but yet are not sharing it with others or sharing it with the school systems or because I feel like maybe it stems from like my childhood and maybe just being angry that I had to learn at like 35 years old how to breathe. Like why wasn't I taught this when I was in school? If I was taught this in school, I would be a different person. I would have handled life differently. Like that's the things that, and I feel like a lot of tightness in my chest,
You
as
know
I'm
what I'm
speaking
hearing,
about it.
Darren? Anger is a catalyst, is what I just heard. It's a
Yeah,
catalyst for change.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and that's what it's doing. I feel like the more angry I get, the more fire and the brighter my light burns inside of me to want to cultivate change. Because if I didn't go through all of this stuff and I'm not angry about it, then I wouldn't like. Why would I bother trying to see try to get this out there, try to in hopes that the school systems cultivate these practices instead of some of the stupid electives they teach you that you'll never use. Like why didn't you teach me how to do yoga when I was in elementary school, and meditate, what I mean? Like the some of the dumbest electives they gave me, like the sex ed was a joke. It was like black and white, and it was from like 1950. You know, I mean the videos they played, on a VHS tape. It was like so ridiculous. I mean, just like the all it just doesn't make any sense to me, man. And teaching
So,
people how to eat healthy and and like I mean it makes sense and then it doesn't. You know what I mean? Because I understand the whole gamut. I understand the game behind it. It's a cycle to feed big pharma and the medical and all that kind of stuff. It's just a circle, like, oh yeah, like if we can keep them this way and we can keep them dumbed down and we can control them and they'll be in fear and like then they're gonna go get pills and then you know what I mean? So I understand
right.
that part of it.
And what I hear you saying in a nutshell is like the question of why are they teaching disempowerment? Why are they not
Yeah,
teaching skills for self empowerment? And we
yeah.
know the answers to that because you are easily to be manipulative if you're
And
in fear,
controlled, yeah, yeah.
if you have low self-esteem, if you're depressed, then people can just advertise to you, which is what the world is really at large, and like what you choose to engage in, of what can I convince you of that you are not worthy enough or happy enough, that if you just do this one thing that you will be. I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard, I mean, I don't really say it anymore, thank goodness, but I used to say a lot and heard it a lot of, well, if I just got this job, I'll feel so much better. If I just, you know, um,
It's
got
like the
this
kid we were
new
talking about.
technological device, like a new iPhone, like I'd be so much better. And it's like, really? I think like you feeling better is like internal. Like nothing can not I feel like nothing should be able to shake us, but I still get shooken sometimes, you know what I
Well,
mean?
because
So
again, it goes back to like the improper breathing, and our nervous system's not regulated, and not knowing how to reset them, or like I told you, like the kid that I was talking about that's 21 with a half a million, he thinks he's not successful. So what is it going to take? A million followers? Then you're going to think you're successful? I mean, when you have the Bentley and you have the mansion, then you're successful. Like, then you'll be happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, it's this, and he's 21 and has this mentality.
And it's like, what are they trying to prove and to who?
Yeah, yeah,
Which is really proving to themselves, right? If it's like
yeah,
materialistic things. It's like, if I have this house and this car, I am worthy of X, Y, and Z. Or I can be more myself now because people will listen to me, or I'll be able to share who I actually am because people will listen. It's very, very interesting what we do as a human society or a collective to try to feel heard or seen or safe. Um, manipulating, because manipulating is not necessarily bad, it just is a change of energy, so manipulative in a way that's empowering or not empowering, right?
yeah. I mean, listen, okay, I'm not going to deny it. I am angry about all those things, and I'm frustrated, and I'm pissed, and all of it. Like I walk outside and I see the skies being covered, and I know my food is not, it's like my produce is being, stuff on it, and like all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
knowing that they're still teaching garbage to the kids in the school systems. I mean, when I'm now aware of this, and it took me how many years to find this out, when there's people out there that know how to do this stuff, and yet it's not being taught. That's what, like, is like there, I feel like there's more numbers of people that we can come together and get change to happen. You know what I'm saying? Versus like the people that are actually doing the enslavement or control. I feel like there's more numbers, but the problem is a lot of them aren't awake to it. And they think that they can't cultivate change, because what is the one saying that always gets said, that when like we have an election or something like that, oh, my one vote is not going to make a change. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I remember like the book Chicken Soup for the Soul, and I remember, I don't know if you remember that series or not.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken Soup for the Soul. They had one s- part in one of the books that talked about a kid walking on the beach, picking up shells on the beach, and they said that I'll never be able to get all these shells. Like, me picking up one shell is not going to make a difference. You know what I mean? And like so many people believe that mentality of like, well, my vote's not going to count. So what's the point? Like, how can I make a change? I'm just one person. How can I make a change?
Right. So going to the vote thing, it's kind of like you or I or the people listening or watching, it's like them feeling that they're not empowered enough, that if they shift themselves, that that's not going to shift the reality enough to the desired change. But it's not about that. If everyone chose themselves first over
Yep.
everybody else and was really in tune with what am I needing, what am I wanting, what am I feeling, and allowing that to guide you, then
Yeah. Yeah.
everything will literally shift and change.
Yep. Yeah. And I just wanted to address like one of the comments that Dale said, which I really liked, man. He said, I truly hope more people find you guys channel, especially younger souls. I'm 44 and wish I heard the conversation/info years ago. That's how I
Oh,
feel. That's exactly how I feel, because I wish when I was growing up that there was people out there coming forward and speaking and sharing, you know? And it's just like, I know that more and more that this is what I'm meant to do and Luna's meant to do, and not suppress it, and actually speak about these topics and come out and go live more and talk more. It's because there's people that need to hear it, and um I wish that
Darren,
I had that. Yeah.
talking about like the food. So I just recently, one of my friends is a master gardener. And when you go through that, you learn about how produce is made, how food is made in general, and a variety of situations and environments. And one of the things that really shocked me,
Mhm.
well, actually, there's two things. We'll just talk about food right now since we were talking about it before, is organic. So they say organic. They're advertised organic as like push that it doesn't have any
Okay.
chemicals, that is better than non-organic food. And then guess what? The organic food still receives tons of pesticides and chemicals. It's just not of a higher degree as the ones that have chemicals on it that are not quote unquote organic. Um, and that to me was really shocking because that is not advertised at all. It's advertised like it's cleaner, it's better, so much more expensive. And yet they're still using chemicals on our food that we're ingesting that will, of course, depending on the vibration to which we are at, can shift the cellular levels, especially if you have a belief system around that. If you don't, then that's out the window. And that really it's more about eating local food that um don't have any chemicals. And when I found that out, that really bothered me because yes, I try to eat organic, but it was because I thought that there's no chemicals on it, and yet there still is, and that's really concerning for me. It's like, why? Like, why do we have water systems that have fluoride in it, chlorine in it? Like, why do we have these systems in place um, to make us sick? And
Well,
why? Because
well,
they
the
want us
floor.
to rely on these systems that keep us sick. So it's like this vicious cycle. If we gave people clean food, then they would be empowered. They would be able to work whenever they wanted or didn't want and like be able to think in a way. It's like, how are these chemicals reacting inside of our system? And that's just one. Like, we also have the outer environment of like being here on Earth and interacting with like cars and airplanes and people's perfume or different kinds of sprays that are all um, that we're all interacting with simultaneously and how that affects our system. And it's pretty like I don't understand. Like I just put a got a water filter for here and then at the other place. And it's like, why do I have to like I pay for water? Why do I have to filter the water? Why is the water not already filtered? Like that just feels so backwards to me. Why are you putting
Well,
chemicals in the water that you want us to drink and pay for, and then I have to buy an outer system to cleanse it so it's not, damaging my pineal gland or causing these like I know that chlorine and like fluoride do so many things to like children, like in their like speech patterns and being able to think and like hold memory, So it's that to me is like, I know you talked about this already, but like just so baffling and feels so backwards because they have the capabilities to do that. Like they have where the
oh
water
yeah,
comes from. They
oh
could
yeah.
make gigantic water filters and then we pay for clean water.
Well,
Like
because
who would have
here's the
thought?
thing, though. Here's the thing.
Like
Why?
actual
Okay,
clean water.
but here's why though. Because if they didn't put the fluoride, which dumbs you down, okay, which
Mhm.
which calcifies your pineal gland, your third eye. Okay,
Right?
so then if they didn't do that, then you would start waking up and getting wise. If they didn't block the sun, which brings codes and activations through, all of this keeps you dumbed down so that you don't figure out that electricity is supposed to be free and water is supposed to be free and
And
you're not
food
speaking
should be free.
and
Like
food
everything
should
should
be,
be
yeah,
free. Like
yeah.
and
So
make up this system of like of
it's like
fake
you would,
money, like this
yeah,
weird
so you
energetic exchange. It's just
so
so weird to
you would get
me.
wise to it all, and then they would like then lose the power that they have, which is essentially like what um Dean said, which I don't want to say the word, but he said SLAVE, EMENT said it earlier. And so it's like It's like, yes,
Oh, yeah.
maybe you could understand my frustration and my anger because I've seen it since like I was that's what I'm trying to say. Like I was awake in the 80s because my dad was awake to it, like fighting the school system so we didn't get the things in our arms as kids. He got lawyers and he went to the school board and he fought it and we didn't have to get it. So it's like I already was like I was experiencing all this stuff in the 70s and 80s, man. And I mean, I was small in the 70s, obviously, but like I still was absorbing it. And I watched my dad fighting and fasting in the 70s and 80s for like, he was fasting at this place called Shangri-La for like 2 weeks on water. You know what I mean? He already knew all this stuff like then, like 34, like 40 years ago. So it's like, that's why I've been so frustrated. That's why when I was like 7 years old, and like the GOV, I didn't believe that. I believe that I saw visions of like things happening all around the world, like hidden from us. And I saw things and I knew I'm like, something's not right with like, and that's when I became like an anarchist and stuff, and against the government because I thought that we were just being controlled. And I saw like this whole pyramid thing, like, oh yeah, there's this person way at the top, and then everybody's like this pyramid, and
Pyramid scheme.
and they're
Mhm.
yeah, and then like even like an Amazon is like that because you have Bezos way at the top, and then you have all these people doing these different jobs to then feed this one person way at the top to be sitting on a yacht, you know,
Yep.
or flying a private jet. So
Mhm.
it's like instead of everyone like like and you know what? When I lived in South Florida and I saw people that had millions and they were their homes were worth like 40, 80 million dollars, or $100 million for their home, right? And I'm like, why do they keep everything a secret? Why don't they like share how they made their wealth? Why don't they share what they're doing? How are they able to be at home all day long and not have to go to a 9 to 5? Like, why don't people share this stuff so that everybody can be thriving and abundant? And you know what I'm saying? Like, I lived in near, like I say, I lived near Miami and stuff like that. And it's like all these people I went to a school, my high school had more expensive cars in the kids' lot than the teachers. Okay? When my parents would drop me off at school, there was in the kids' parking lot, they had Bentleys and Maseratis and BMWs. Kids were driving to school. High school kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
like I'm like thinking to myself, like, why aren't they sharing? Like, why doesn't everybody just come together and bring their wealth and everything together? And we would be so different, this whole planet. And so I've been questioning that since I was little, Luna, believe me. It's racked my brain. I've had headaches. I've,
Well, I
just
don't even
trying to
have to question it. I already know the answer. It's just about control
no,
and
but that's the part
disempowerment.
that I'm saying, not questioning it, like being not understanding why why people don't like if everyone just walked out of these systems together, they would all collapse. Everything would just dissolve, because like they're not giving their energy or attention anymore to it. So it would just
Right.
all dissolve. And I'm like, why doesn't everybody just walk out like they protest? Why don't we just walk out of this and say, F this, I'm not working a damn 9 to 5 anymore? Like, and the whole system, everybody just walks away, comes together. Like I never understood that. And I always wondered why that is. And yet people just take it and they're angry and they're pissed off and they're like, this sucks, man. I got to go to work and blah, blah, blah. You don't have to do anything. If we all come together and you not trying to think you have to make everything for yourself, for self wealth and self gain, like, oh, I got to have all these things and have 10 houses, like some of these celebrities that have 50 bathrooms and 8 bedrooms. Like, what the hell do you need that for? You're not even there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't even make sense. Like a lot of them, like a lot of these rappers, they got like houses that they don't even use 10 of the bathrooms. They're lucky if they even use one of them. you know? So I'm not judging nobody, man, but it just it's so imbalanced, you know? There's not a balance. That's you could just tell it's so out of balance when you have like an NFL player making $100 million a year, and you got somebody at McDonald's making $10 an hour. You know, like they're lucky if they're getting like 12,000 a year. Like it's so out of balance. It's not that's not even contrast anymore.
Right. So whenever something's out of balance, then it'll naturally come into balance. And I agree with what Dean's saying that, the great awakening can't be stopped, that we're taking our power back. And I agree with that. And yeah,
Me
separation
too.
is the biggest illusion because when we are in separation, that means we're in our ego and we're
Yep.
playing the game, so to speak.
Yep.
And not realizing that we are the player, we are the game of one
Yeah, but yeah, but
engaging with other people's games.
these powers that be, that is the
Mhm.
thing they figured out the most is if we can get them to separate from God, from source, from their heart, then they're going to be in their mind and they're going to
Mhm.
be in fear and easily controlled. So it's like, how can we get them to disconnect from their heart? Because when you're
Right, which
connected
is
to your heart,
when
you're connected to source.
right, which is when like materialism got really big, the you know, everyone in separate houses because we used to be in community, like in
Yeah.
villages where
Yeah.
everyone would
Yeah. Yeah.
raise
Yeah.
children together. You needed some sugar, grandmama down the road has your back. You need somebody to hang out with your kid. Like the whole village is raising them with you. Like, so if you not only separate from source and God, but you also separate from your collective, like we're all here together engaging. And if we're all separate from each other, then that's also like a need. Like, what is it? It's connection. Like, we all want to have connection with ourselves, connection with those around us. And when there's separation, it's like, okay, well, um, I'm gonna be wallowing in my emotions and my decisions and feeling disempowered to move in a way that's authentic, that feels good to me, and instead stay in these boxes and labels that I'm choosing to put myself in because it feels safer. I've struggled with over the years of having like being aware of the illusion, aware of the labels and like that it's a choice, and then stepping out of it because the false safety is all I've known. And it's like, well, I believe that this false safety is actually safety to me. And now that I'm realizing that it's not, how do I find safety and real safety? And what does that feel like to me? And how can I engage with that and accept that as like the actual truth instead of that what has been fed to me as safety?
Yeah, but then they also play into making you feel like, well, if you are like yearning for community or connection, then that there's a level of attachment or codependency. You know what I mean? Like all these things are made to feel like you're crazy, and that no, you have to be independent, do everything, gain independent wealth. Everything is like about just like
Individualism.
yeah, individualism, and then you take it another step further, which is technology, being on
Yep.
a tablet, being on your computer gaming, sitting in front of the computer for 12, 24 hours, streaming to yourself because
Which just
inevitably
closes off all your chakras.
yeah,
And when you
yeah, and
close off
yeah.
that, you're closed off from emotions. You're like numbed out.
Everything, yeah,
Yeah.
and then they take it a step further, and they're starting to incorporate dolls for you to make love to and all these different things, so you're not, and the toys and the different things so there's no connection, you know what I'm saying? And then you take it even a step further with ChatGPT, which is like, you know, a whole 'nother level, of all basically just um, you alone, and then people are wonder why they're lonely. And I think you froze. All of a sudden, you froze. Yeah, you're frozen. Damn. Am I frozen too? No. You there? Yeah, you're looks like Luna froze, guys. I don't know if she'll be back or not, but so yeah, it's like it's wild, man. You know, how these things like, the TV and not needing to socialize and isolating yourself and all of it is damn, I can't believe it she froze. Well, I don't know if she'll be back, guys. Might be, no. We were only on here for like 45 minutes. We didn't really do the whole hour yet. Oh yeah, she's gone. I don't know. Actually, I might still be able to invite her. Well, let's see if she comes back. Because there is an invite option. I never realized they did this now all of a sudden. Oh wait, no, you can't now. Oh, it says remove guest. So maybe I should remove her. In society being pushed right now are all uh, to separate us and make us lonely. Yeah, yeah, exactly. 100%, Dean. And then you feel like you have codependency issues or you feel like you have attachment issues when it's not really the case. Um, I mean, our souls are looking and yearning for connection, especially a lot of us old souls. Well, what I could do, it says here they'll be removed immediately, but you and your stream will still be live. So I'm wondering if I should remove her and then she could still come back. But I don't know if she'll be able to come back if I remove her. So I don't know what to do if I should do that or not. Oh, there she is. Oh, she was back and she's gone. Eh. I'm glad I didn't hit the remove but oh wait. Oh, now I guess I can invite her. They changed this now that you can re-invite somebody. Yeah, yeah, there she is. That's so cool. Now you can do it now. Huh. How cool. You know what? There's an option now at the bottom that when you were off the screen, there's like a little person and you can press that and it says remove the guest, but then I didn't remove it, right? And then you came back for a split second and then it was completely removed, right? But then you can press the little guy again and then it gives you options to share the link to invite somebody again. Remember how we used to not be able to do that once like they're gone type of thing?
Yep.
Now it seems like you can like I could share the link right now. I think I could click it again. Oh no, I could remove you and then it gives you the option to invite somebody else. I'm choosing to isolate right now. It's a choice and no, I'm not going to fill fill the gap with technology, even though I'm in here with you guys using technology. That's different though. Um, I feel like the different things are like they're teaching the younger generation, like the kids, to be more separate and divided and disconnected. I mean, granted, also through the technology and through these things, they're trying to subdue their gifts and their abilities, like what they did with us. Through suppression, through obviously through the water and the chemicals and those type of things too, but also through kids. Like I remember when I was living in Florida and I was younger, so I was in my 30s maybe. There was little kids walking around that were like 5 years old and had a phone already, and they had a phone in their hand and I would go to like these government establishments to take care of things, and the mother would have the kid in the basket or something, and the kid would be playing with the tablet or the phone, and it's like a little kid, like 3, 4 years old, probably.
But why is that? What is the deeper um, need that's not being met? That parent is doing everything themselves when they're not supposed to. Like I have two kids. I'm doing everything
Yeah,
myself. I'm not supposed to. I'm supposed to have a community and a village that I live in that our kids are playing together and adults are hanging out and that we're sharing meals and we're in each other's energy and it's an equal energetic exchange. So,
Yeah.
with that said, the parent is using technology, I'm hearing as a clutch, but it's just a tool to use because the parent is overwhelmed,
Yeah,
doesn't know
exactly.
what to do. And it's like, well, maybe they don't know how to regulate just yet. And they would rather have their kid numb out instead of them like yelling at them because they're like trying to get food on the table or what have you. So eh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey metal,
And
and
yeah, Dale, I feel it's so important for people to have time alone. Darren and I both have had a lot of time alone. Um, it's important to have that if you can even daily, and if you need to have like technology breaks or even friend breaks or family breaks, like what have you, it's great because as you're in the state of being by yourself, you realize what's actually yours and what somebody else's, and what you're choosing to take on or not take on. And if you're constantly getting this feedback of, be happier, buy this thing, do this thing, then you are stripped from your identity because you're constantly being pulled like marionette in these different directions of like, oh, like, oh, be nice over here, oh, don't say that, oh, go buy this, instead of being what's true to me, what
yeah,
feels good to me, right? It's just like
yeah.
another way. So yeah, if you need to isolate or be by yourself, I did that for a year of
I've
being
done
by
that for like
myself in the
46
RV.
years, man. Are you kidding me? Like 46 years of it.
And people my friends and family would get really annoyed with me because I would turn off my phone, I would channel, I'd just be in like doing my own thing, like tuning into like what I'm needing, like when I want to eat or go to the bathroom or be outside. And they would get so frustrated with me because I was choosing to have this time to investigate internally of what I was needing, and they weren't at that time choosing that, and
Yeah.
that's okay. So if it ruffles feathers around you, it's good.
Oh,
If
it does.
you
Yeah.
if other people react around you for being your authentic self, good, because it's teaching them how they can step into that as well. And if they're being reactive or annoyed, it's like something for them to look at themselves. So you do you. That's
Every
all I
time,
gotta
like, I would
say.
go to, like, these every time I would go to, like, family gatherings and stuff, I wouldn't say anything, and my dad would get mad at me, you know, because I mean, not even that, but it's like majority I've been isolated my majority of my life, you know? I mean, yeah, I go out, I go to the YMCA, I talk with people, but it's like majority of the time I'm alone, you know? And I'm like talking to myself out loud and, and and just I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this, Luna, like yesterday, and I know you were feeling it too when we were doing all that stuff. I was beginning to hit a wall at the end, like I was starting to get frustrated, and overwhelmed. There's so many things to do. And um I do need, regardless of like when I start spending a lot of hours on the computer doing stuff like back end stuff, like I'm like, I need alone time, like where I can like recharge and like sit out in nature, and just not talk to anybody, and it's like I could already feel it, like I could feel it happening more and more that we were doing all that stuff. And I realized today as I was processing it, I would rather say, see, because you know what? I think both of our mentalities are very similar, which is like, let's get this done and spend a bunch of time getting it done so then we don't have to spend another day doing it, but then we compromise the love for ourselves and we compromise like we feel pissed off and angry and frustrated for sitting there that long and then
Yeah, it's
we're not then we
like
don't
where's
feel
the
good.
balance? And
Yeah, and
also
then
it's like the doing mentality. If I do
yeah,
this much, If I
Yeah.
just do this much, if I'm on the screen for this many hours, I won't have to do it later.
Yeah.
But something that I've realized, and this goes back to you having a different car, Daren, it's like if we really tune in to ourselves and what we're needing and what we're wanting and what we're calling in and not settling for less. And I really want to talk about looping because I think that's so important to say on here and my realization about it. Um, then you shift timelines. So Daren and my kids say the same thing. So it's not just me, which is nice because I did think I was going crazy when it happened. He used to have cars, like tons of cars, and the most recent one that I knew about was like leaking water. The like he is constantly taking it to the shop, like, and they're like, I don't know what's wrong with it. Like they would just like make excuses, just kind of like, and he like wasn't getting the support he needed. And then all of a sudden the next day, or like it was over a week before I realized it, which I think spirit, because it was like immediate, I'd be like really shocked. So like gently eased me into it. And then he's kept saying SUV, SUV, SUV. And I'm like, he has a like car. Like, why does he keep saying SUV? That's just so weird. But some people use different words interchangeably. Like they have a van, but they call it a car, for example, like a vehicle. And then when he showed me his SUV, I was like, what the like, that's not your car, like, you had a car before, and you're, like, in an SUV, and you're trading in an SUV, and then he's like, "I've had SUV after SUV after SUV, like, look, Luna, look at all my pictures." And that's the thing that I think we don't realize fully is our society, one of the programs, many programs that we have installed in our system, so to speak, is the doing mentality. Because if you're constantly doing, what space are you in? You reside here in your head,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
thinking, processing, not in your heart, not grounded, that's for sure. Then that means, again, you're what? Easily to manipulate and control and stay in this like little box, so to speak. So this is like whether you believe in my story or not, no one can convince me otherwise. 'Cause I know this happened. Is we
No,
don't
I was just
have to
reading Dale's
do
answer.
stuff.
That's why I was laughing.
We don't have to do stuff. So like Daren and I yesterday, we were on the computer for way too long. In my
Yeah.
opinion, my head was turning down, like my neck's like, "Ugh," because we were trying to get stuff done, because we were trying to,
Yeah.
get it all done, editing friggin' Patreon posts because someone was helping us do it, and there's, like, time differences, and anyways, but we didn't have to. We chose to do
No.
that, and then from that choice, what happened? We had, like, a headache, and, like, our neck hurts, and now we're, like, wanting and we're on the computer some more right now, and we're, like, wanting to have a break, and we're like, "Meh," around it, when in reality, if we would have paused and stepped back and, like, came back in, like, an hour and just took a break, our battery, so to speak, would have recharged and not like I don't know about you, Darren, but whenever I'm on a computer or on a screen, which is why I isolated for a year, and I agree. I saw the comment, Dean, that yeah, we do need balance. And you will know what that balance is. Like if you're constantly around people, you might need a lot of alone time to disengage, to come back to yourself and like
Yeah.
figure out what needs to be worked through internally to step in your power. For me, when I'm on the computer too much, which is why I really want to do more in person events instead of online, is because I feel like someone's like pushing on my third eye, but not in a comfortable way. And then I feel nothing. It's like I could just feel like shoop, 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 like all my chakras close off. And then I feel frustrated, but I can't really engage with the frustration because it's like I have this numbing factor layer on top of it. And then it's like these other emotions. And it's so weird to me because yeah, there's a lot of people who are scrolling, who are engaging on technology to numb out. And it's like an addiction that can happen as a way to not tune in that's super easily accessible for all generations, you know?
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, and for me, in doing seam retention and NoFap for, like, over 2 years and then deleting everything, I don't feel like that is something that I'm not addicted to it anymore in the way that I was before, you know? um, because I feel like that like I was forced into coming back to balance, meaning I had to get off every single thing. And do you think like society has the opportunity to do that, where they completely disengage from everything and then they completely change their diet to the point where, because listen, don't forget that not only technology but food, dependent on the type of food you're eating, it also triggers the dopamine receptors. Okay, so if you have very heavily seasoned foods, like you're using sauces and all different kinds of things, like dipping sauces and high sugars and all, that's all triggers dopamine. So like because of candida, I went to a diet where I couldn't eat anything but like bland food. And it was like so limited in the, it was just basically raw salads and no dressings or anything, and it rebalanced my dopamine receptors. How many people actually give their body a chance to do that, or with everything, where they can rebalance everything, um or even are going to try to do that, or even can do that because of the addictions they have to a lot of the foods or the technology or the pornography. So it's like so a lot of us are finding that they need to like eat lighter foods and start fasting. And I'm noticing people on social media, oh, I'm doing like a 24-hour fast, and I'm doing like a intermittent fasting. And like more and more of the collective, it's becoming like I said, when my dad did a 2-week water fast in the 80s, people weren't doing that shit. Now, I hear it left and right. People are doing it. "Oh, I'm doing a 5-day fast. Oh, I'm doing," you know what I mean? It's like so much more become no fap is so big, you know, semen retention is so big. All of those things are really, really big. If you guys don't know what it is, it's just sustaining from, kind of like celibacy, but you
Mhm.
know,
Self
uh
pleasure, sustaining from self pleasure. So,
well, yeah,
Darren,
because
I'm
like
noticing that we're over time.
no, we're not, because we actually started later because the last live was 45 minutes we were on, and it was already 3 o'clock.
I know, and now it's 15 minutes, which is an hour.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we
Yeah.
hit the
So
hour.
yeah. So I
Well,
think
just to
I have to head out. And I just want to say thank you all. Thanks, Dale and Dean and anybody else that's watching. Thank you for the likes and the comments and the engagement. We appreciate you.
and
And
just say this, if you
mhm,
want to join, we're having the breathwork series. Luna's going to do a fire promotional video that you guys will love pretty soon, hopefully, that we're going to put out, and you guys are going to see promoting this breathwork series that is starting this week for the next 6 weeks. So you guys make sure you get
if you want
over
to learn
to,
how to breathe,
yeah,
move
yeah,
that air in and out of your body in a different way,
yes. Join me
then
and
come
Luna for
join
this
us.
powerful event, and just go to www.darenandluna.com, and you'll have all the information there, or you can go to patreon.com, or you can go to any video we have on any platform of social media, and below the video is links to everything. So
Yeah.
join
Thank you
us.
all so much for being here. We love you. Have a beautiful day. Mwah. Bye. Thanks, Darren.
Bye. See you soon.